Hi and welcome back to the garden on this beautiful sunny November day. In this video we're going to be talking about the seeds that we sown in October, which many of you would have seen the video. If you've not seen it, I'll put the link to it in the description and also in the area to my right, I think it is, or left. I don't know where it is, but it'll be somewhere near the top. So in that video I discussed 4 different flower seeds to sow in October. So those little seeds have been growing away in our mini greenhouse, and looking at them now, they're well overdue for pricking out and providing their own little environment in their own little plant pot. So that's what I'm going to do today. So the first seedlings I'm going to start with are the blue cornflowers. These were Centaurea cyanus. And these have grown into little beautiful little seedlings. As you can see, they've already got their true leaves and beyond with some of them. So they're well on the way for needing to be pricked out now. So I've just got some little containers and I'm just going to fill with multi-purpose compost. And just using this little dibber that I've got, I'm just going to gently prick them out of this seed tray. And as you can see, they are lovely little seedlings. We've got a really good root system there growing away and good development of leaves. So that's now ready for putting into its own little pot. So I'm just going to put some compost into this kind of size container, put a little hole in using my hand and just pop them in. You don't need to firm too tightly around the plants themselves. They will form their own connections with the soil once we water as well. So again, just going to put these in. We're being really fortunate this morning with so much lovely sunshine, and it's actually quite warm, which is really good. It's such a wonderful task to be doing when the sun is lovely and still shining on you and still giving you that warmth. As you can see, quite a lot of seeds have germinated, so I'm very glad I didn't do the whole tray full of these, otherwise we would have been in a situation where we had a lot of plants, probably too many for what we need them for. So these have developed into lovely little seedlings. I'm really pleased. So these are the blue cornflowers, and they will now, because they are already at this stage, they'll overwinter, and they will now be, when spring emerges and the warmer weather comes, we can then be putting them out and they'll be getting a really good head start from the ones that you would normally sow in spring. So because we've sown them in October, it means we now have plants that are going to be ready to go into the ground straight away as little plants when spring arrives. A lot of these plant pots we get free. We have a local garden centre that has a little bin for people to put their unwanted pots in. So every time we visit, we have a rummage around, and any pots that we take a liking to, we take away. And all of these pots that you can see on this tray have literally been rehomed and reused by us. So it's a really good initiative for reducing plastic waste. And obviously now we've got them, they'll be reused and reused time and time again. And that's another thing, when you are selecting, if you are buying containers as new, don't go for the cheapest options. Sometimes the cheapest ones will only last you at the most one season. Always have a feel of the plastic and make sure that that plastic is a good quality, because you may as well be buying a little bit more expensive pots that are going to last you many more years, rather than just going for the very cheapest options that ain't going to last you more than 5 minutes. That's one of the things we've found out during our time of gardening. Go with the most quality that you can afford. And I've had this compost just left in the summer house for a few days, just so that, because when I first got it out of the bag, it was quite wet with all the water and rain we've been having. So I just got it out of the bag a few days in advance, put it into the summer house to dry, and now it's a perfect consistency for working with. It's not too wet, it's still got some moisture in it, but it's not that wet that your hands are completely sodden in wet compost, which I really don't like working with. So if you are going to be doing stuff like this, in this unpredictable weather where we get a lot of rain in autumn, sometimes it's just worth thinking ahead and preparing your compost so that it's not too wet and it's nice and workable for you. These are coming out beautifully. I find this such a therapeutic thing to do, because each one of these plants is new life. Running out of space quickly. Such an amazing thing to know you've got brand new life living and breathing in your fingers. And lots of people have been asking about this lovely green tray as well, and this is a green tray we bought on Amazon. And we find it so useful. We use it when we're doing any seedlings, we use it when we're doing things like pricking out, but we also use it on the ground sometimes. You'll see us using it when we're doing like a new area or planting new plants, because it's just a good holding tray for holding soil, holding plants you're lifting out of the ground. Especially with lawn, you don't want to get any big clumps of soil on your lawns, so it kind of helps just to keep everywhere nice and tidy and clean. But I'll put the link to the tray in the video at the bottom for anyone that might be wanting to get one. They make an ideal Christmas present if anyone's got any family members, or you want to make your own Christmas list for your loved ones that you might want to ask people to buy you something useful for yourself. So I've just got one more, and that can go in that last one. Push that down, and there we go. Now that one looks like it's had a bit of a struggle with some kind of, maybe a slug or something, so that's not going to be any use. I'll put that to one side. So that's all the cornflowers done, and as you can see, we do have a lot of lovely plants that we can be keeping over the winter. So I'm just going to get this tray cleared and we'll get on to the next one. So I'm now on to the second seeds, and these were Nigella Blue Starry Skies. So a love in a mist, a lovely blue colour. So again, I'm just going to get some pots and get these pricked out. We did really well with our Nigella this year that we sown in spring, and we've had filling in the borders throughout the summer months. So in these bigger pots, I'm just going to put 2 of these seedlings together. Just save space in our greenhouse, and it won't do the plants any harm. And the last 2 that are very, very small, I'll just pop them in there. And hopefully they'll be okay. So that's all the Nigella seedlings pricked out. I'll just clear the bench again, ready for the next ones. So on to our sweet peas. So these were sown in October, and they are doing so well. They've germinated lovely, growing really nice. These are a variety called Giant Waved Mixed, and I'm not going to transplant these. These are going to remain in these containers for their entirety, and we'll be putting these into the ground as they are up the obelisk like we did this year, and the roots will then come through the holes in the bottom into the ground below, and hopefully, like this year, because these have been grown in tall containers, the slugs won't get to them. They'll be able to grow away up the obelisk, and we'll be able to enjoy beautiful scented flowers all summer long. So because these are growing so well, the only thing I'm going to do with them is just nip out the top, and this makes them grow some new shoots to make them a much bushier plant. So all I'm going to do is just take the top and just snip each and every one of them, just to where there's a leaf. And the same with these. So with this one, if you can see, it's already starting to grow 2 shoots. So I'm going to leave them as they are because they are already forming their own bushy plant, and eventually all these ones with just one stem will form multiple stems, and multiple stems means multiple flowers, which is perfect for us. So that's the sweet peas taken care of. So the last flower seed that we sown in October was the Ladybird Poppy. Now these ones are not as successful as the other 3, unfortunately, and that's because somehow the slugs have been in our mini greenhouse and had a little nibble at them. So they're not looking the best. There are a few that have got the true leaves on, but if you can see in this shot, there are also a lot that have had the tops nibbled off. So we're just going to leave them as they are. I'm not going to try and transplant these at this stage. I'm going to leave them to get a little bit more larger, and then we'll come back, and hopefully the slugs would have left these alone and would come back to a bit bigger plants that we can then try and prick out into their own containers. But for the time being, I'm going to leave them as they are. So that's all the seedlings covered from the October video of 4 flower seeds to sow in October. So thanks very much for watching. If you've liked the video, please give us that thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and this is the first video you've seen, please consider subscribing. Every subscriber really matters to us on our YouTube journey. And if you've got any comments, please drop them down in the comments box. Thanks very much again, and we'll see you soon on the next one. Take care.